fire. Yeah, do it like that.
All right,
Oh, did I fuck up?
shut up, Cameron. Just shut your mouth. Everyone, shut your mouth right now.
Alright, I'm
Three,
sorry.
2, 1, go.
About me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. These are your BFT guys. We're all here. We are here on Wednesday, September 30th. We're going to talk about the debate last night. Just recap it a little bit. You know, we all tuned in. We all had varying opinions, but honestly, from the reaction, maybe we all kind of think very similarly about the debate last night. It was a shit show. Yeah, I'll just set it off from the beginning. It was, but we're gonna really dive in and talk about it a little bit tonight. Really dive into what we saw, give our reactions, and just kind of just try to paint a maybe a little bit of a better picture. You know, this is Bona Fide. We're not trying to deceive or we don't have any illicit intent tonight. We're just gonna talk and give our ideas. So as usual, we're all drinking. Hold them up, fellas.
Oh shoot,
Yeah,
I'm
hold them
drinking
up.
water again.
Cameron's got
Same.
water. Right on. So we're all you know, drinking something at least. So anyway, let's get started. Cameron, do you want to kick us off and just kind of give your just like original synopsis on last night?
Yeah, man. So I guess initial response is the first place to start. Um, my first response was similar to yours or what you were saying. We all think, and what I saw other people's responses is that it was a shit show for sure. That was part of what I was thinking. Um, because the way Trump interrupted and the way he acted, no one wants to see that in their presidential debate. But it is Donald Trump, so like at the end of the day, what else can you really expect? Like when you think about what you expected from this debate, I think he went right where you should have been thinking. I mean, he's the Donald, like he has that personality when he's out there. He was aggressive and attacking, just like he's always been in these kind of scenarios. So I think it would have been exceptional if he came out and didn't act the way he acted. But that's what the
Mm.
country's been saying is they don't want their president to act like that.
Right.
A
Yeah.
lot of the country.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I read an article earlier. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Frank Lutz. He's the pollster. Every election cycle, he gets focus groups together, and he does like focus groups with moderate people during the election to kind of see like how they react. You know, what buzzwords kind of get them thinking, or leaning towards any certain candidate, whatever. And I was reading an article right now, and it reiterates exactly what you just said, Cameron. So from this group of 17 voters in swing states, 15 of them use negative words, and only 2 of them use positive words or phrases to describe the president
Hmm.
in that situation. So that just kind of just reiterates, a lot of vitriol from both sides. Anyway, Blake, let's go ahead and go to you. What was your kind of initial reaction on what you heard from the debate?
Yeah, so I actually never got a chance to sit down and watch the debates, but just based off what I heard throughout the day, I heard they were kind of a shit show.
Yeah,
Apparently, just a lot of bickering. Not really a whole lot got accomplished from what I heard. Apparently, it was just a lot of um, you know pandering for clips that get uploaded
right.
online or get played over and over again on TV.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. That's not really. I don't. Uh, you hope for something different than that, but also it's not really that surprising.
Yeah, no, it definitely seemed like both candidates were definitely going for those like 15-second bits that were just going to go viral. You know, like you could definitely see like when Biden was really turning it on. I honestly like nonpartisan. It seemed like Biden was really trying to get those like digs in, those like talking to the camera, looking the voter in the eye type, like what do you call those like viral bits? I don't know, whatever. But definitely did notice that as well. Blake, how did you go about, like, since you didn't watch the debate live last night, I don't blame you. Why, or how did you go about getting, like, the information? Did you go to social media? Did you did you have a certain platform that you used to kind of read up on it, or what was your kind of takeaway there?
So the main way I got information on it was reading through Twitter when I got
Mm-hmm.
home from work today, and just talking with some of my coworkers at work today about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting other people's opinions on it. Also, kind of what you guys were saying last night in our group message and on Snapchat. Just seeing some of the clips y'all were sending. And just I kind of got like a very very brief overview of what all was going on. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Cool. All right, Brian, talk to us. Give us the knowledge.
Yeah, so this will be kind of long-winded because I sat through I think the majority of it. So there were 6 sections, all pretty long. However, a commonality between each of them was both candidates, talking over each other, so you didn't really know who was saying what when. But objectively speaking, so I think before kind of diving into what actually happened, I think it's good to think about what did each candidate need to show. So Biden, for one, we all know his incompetence and just inability to speak. That showed last night. I mean, he was stumbling over words. Part of the reason, Trump stirring the pot, he saw the weakness and he extrapolated it. And we all knew he was going to kind of do that in some fashion or the other. Um, but Biden's goal with this one, and granted, there's a couple more left. This isn't last night doesn't dictate who won the presidential election by any means,
Good
but
point.
Biden's end goal really was to target the working class citizens and get that vote. And so you mentioned earlier how he would get those moments where he would try to look in the camera and point and speak to the working class individual.
Yep.
However, it didn't, to me at least, it seemed really fake and not genuine. And I don't know if middle class and lower middle class America will pick up on that, but
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of gave me those creeper vibes that we've seen with Biden the whole time. I was like, I felt uncomfortable when he would stop and point at the camera and say this shit. And it's like, dude, you're just recycling the same shit just so you can get that 15-second clip of Biden is for you. He knows you. I am you. I came from Scranton, not Park Avenue or whatever. Like, he was trying way too hard to relate to working class, and it wasn't genuine relationship.
Right.
And that kind of showed. Trump's goal last night, I would say, would to be, which he didn't accomplish, would to be able to form, solid, non-argumentative topics. I do think like what he was talking about, all of his points were very valid and direct, and he had really good arguments, but the way he went about it completely discredited that. When
Yep.
he was just, speaking over, stirring the pot, like it didn't cater to what America wanted to perceive as a president. It just wasn't professional. So he kind of came up short there. However, I think if you objectively look at what they were talking about, who actually broke down, arguments, I think Trump had strong points. And like we said, he went on the offensive. He was attacking Biden, saying, why won't you say this? You're radical left. Like, just say the words, or we all know why you won't because you'll lose supporters, stuff like that. So he came out strong. But at the same time, Biden did have some sound arguments, but I felt like the more compelling arguments came from Trump's side, but he just completely discredited his position by how he went about it. We talked about the goal here. I don't know if there is a clear winner. I mean, as the first presidential debate, it was sloppy, interrupting.
Right. let's get to the winner talk later because I
Mhm.
definitely want to get to that, and I think that's a great lead in. Okay, so here's one thing I wanted to ask you guys. Okay, you brought up a good point about Trump. You know what his goal was. His goal was to present his side. Um, but I wanted to ask, okay, what did we actually expect from Trump? Okay, so what I mean by that, so we all saw what happened in the 2016 election. You know, Trump was one of 20 candidates originally, was not the favorite going in. He, really domineered a lot of the debates, the Republican debates, kind of he was always off the cusp. He was always, attacking, interrupting, all that stuff. But the American populace fell in love with him because of that. Okay. Why and did we expect anything different this go around? Are we expecting him to, we voted him into office in 2016 because he wasn't presidential. He was kind of a change of pace from what we've seen over the last couple of decades, and he brought new ideas and brought new outlook and drain the swamp. No career politicians, etc. Why did we expect him to, in 4 years to be this like level-headed, you know, uh, change man at 72 years old? Any thoughts on that?
Uh, so I know for me, like thinking back to the 2016 election, I agreed with a lot of what Trump stood for. And
Mm-hmm.
the main thing that I didn't like about him, which it seems to be what pretty much everyone doesn't like about him, is just how outlandish he is and non-presidential. And a big part of me, before he was actually elected, was hoping that that would change if he was elected. You know, I just kind of figured it was like it was just an act to rally up his voters to get attention and whatnot. But like you said, it definitely didn't change when he got into office, and that it's kind of disheartening to see. You know, you do want someone who's or you would like to see someone who's a little bit more level-headed in that type of position.
Mm,
So I honestly I just wonder why he still acts like that when he knows that, like, even amongst his supporters, like that's something that not really many people like or agree with, is someone who's just so hot-headed and
yeah,
likes to cut people off and you know have the personality that he does. His
right.
his policies kind of speak for themselves. They seem fairly rational for the most part.
Hmm.
Some more than others for sure. But I feel like he's at the point. He's an incumbent president, so it's like it's already hard to beat an incumbent president um, in in an election. Like I feel like he doesn't need to be um, as Trumpy as he is. So I don't know. I don't know.
So you're saying that you were hoping for growth from like a presidential, like that's always the adjective that gets thrown around, like acting presidential. You could maybe say Biden last night acted more presidential just because he wasn't as outlandish or attacking or whatever, depending on how
Right.
you define the word.
Yeah. I mean,
Cameron, go ahead.
just real quick. I
Yeah.
kind of mentioned this. I think last time we talked about politics was how a lot of like what Obama's policies were, weren't things that I necessarily get behind for the most part. But he was a very presidential person. He was the
Hmm.
type of person that you would want in office. Very uh, well spoken, educated, smart. Seemed to be level headed. And Trump is just the exact flip side of that. And
Right.
the character that Obama projected seemed a lot more presidential and
The public perception.
Mm.
right.
All right, Cameron, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I know which one I want more. I definitely prefer somebody who might not act and be the presidential figure that everybody
Mm.
wants, but somebody that gets it done. When it comes to making trade deals with other countries, being that hardcore, salesman, not only salesman, he's not only trying to sell them, but he's, uh, a trade, warrior. He's got to go in there and battle for like deals and stuff. So he knows how to do that, and that's what he showed during the debate, and that's what I think. So this first debate was with Fox News, like as a moderator, one of the guys from Fox News. So I think he thought that this would maybe be viewed more by his base, and those people. So people that watch Fox News, and he could get away with a little bit more with this moderator. So maybe he really went for it. So I'm really interested to see the next ones where, of course, and one of the big things, one of the big takeaways people are talking about, especially on CNN, I watched their post debate show, and the big thing is like when they were talking about white supremacy, and he didn't
Mm,
just like completely disavow any white supremacists, and he like said some weird stuff about stand down and whatever.
yeah.
um, I think they're definitely going to bring that up in the next debate, and he'll like clarify or something. I'm super interested to see if he acts like this again, because I'm with Blake. Like when he was getting elected in 2016, I mean, we were hoping he would act more presidential, but he stayed on Twitter and stayed running his mouth. But and then in this debate, we've seen it again. But
Mm.
like you're saying too, what more can we expect? It's who he is. It's the Donald coming out. But I'm interested to see what the next two will be like.
I didn't know the moderator was Fox based, so that
Mm.
you bring up an interesting point. I thought the moderator was, I mean, did a solid job being objective. He threw shade at times, but it was pretty balanced between the two candidates. But to that point, I think Trump does a better job personally when he is on the defensive as opposed to being the antagonist that he was last night. So
Mm.
maybe we get somebody from CNN in there and they try to razzle him a little bit. I think hope he'd be a little more articulate and less, aggressive, like we saw
Yeah,
last night.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't really put it in that context, but I think that's really good. Is thinking about Trump as kind of like always on the defensive, right? Okay, so you got fake news. That was
Which
the big
aren't.
thing. 20. Yeah, right. Fake news always out to get Trump, which I mean, he might not be wrong there. You've got, I don't know if y'all saw the meme that he posted today. It was like a picture of the two candidates and then Chris Wallace, the moderator, and it was like Trump on one side and then the moderator and Joe Biden on the other side, like a 1v2.
yeah,
Which honestly, depending on where you are, you could watch that debate last night and say, okay, I could see how that could be. Okay, one of my takeaways I actually wrote down. I watched the full debate this morning and took a malicious notes. Y'all saw my notes on the Google Doc, but
yeah,
one thing that I wrote down was, okay, Chris Wallace seems to kind of be a little bit more lenient on Biden when it comes to like the interrupting stuff than he was on Trump. You know, take with that what you will. I don't know. Maybe that's just some inherent bias playing through with my eyes. But it will be interesting to see how other moderators do from other networks. Like you said, B. There was a lot of backlash for Chris Wallace on social media and in the news today. A lot of people just did not think he did a good job. Again, just up to the beauty's in the eye of the beholder there. I thought there was my biggest thing that I took away, and I want to kind of talk on this a little bit, is I just thought there was a lot of missed opportunity to get a clear vision of who the candidates are. We know Trump, but who is Joe Biden from a policy standpoint? Okay. So Joe Biden, like it was pointed out last night in the debate, has been in politics for 47 years. Okay. He's had many different things that he's focused on throughout the years, many different policies. As vice president for Obama, where do you differentiate him from what Obama wanted to drive as the president, the most recent president before Trump? So I wanted to kind of hear from him, like, okay, what are you trying to kind of fight for? And really, I didn't get a good vision because I felt like he contradicted himself a pretty good bit. Like there was one scene, they were talking about COVID, and Biden criticized Trump for shutting down the economy back in March for like concerns about COVID, and then he began to talk about how he wanted to shut down the economy and like instill like national mask mandates if he got elected. And
Keep
that just
schools
didn't really
closed.
right. That didn't really align. I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. That kind of contradicts yourself. Just little things like that. Another thing, I'm sorry, this kind of circles back to what we were talking about earlier, but Trump, if you notice, like when you watch the debate, and I want y'all to look at this the next time, but Trump, you can always tell, like, he's never had anything scripted, or nothing seems scripted. Like he might have some things that are like kind of drilled into his head that, he needs, little digs he needs to get in. But it felt like Biden, like everything was just kind of like memorized. Everything was just like a memorized like monologue. Like, when he'd look into the camera and be like, working class
I'm
people.
from Scranton. I know you.
Right. Like, okay, that's kind of cringeworthy.
It was funny when he was trying to dig at Trump and he was like, get out of the bunker. You like, get out of your sand trap on your golf course.
Oh, yes. That was pretty funny. But yeah, just like little things like that. It's so like, I don't know. It was unauthentic for sure when y'all used that word earlier. Anyway, so, okay, I guess what I want to move into now is, okay, who did anyone here hurt or help themselves? So if I'm a moderate voter, and I watched the debate last night, I'm still unsure about who I want to vote for. Maybe I don't like Trump's Twitter. Maybe I'm looking for an excuse to not vote for Trump, or maybe I'm just lost in the wind, don't know what I'm going to do. As thinking of that mindset, what do you think? Do you think anyone came away as a winner last night?
Dude, I think it was just a wash, dude. It's a bunch of bullshit. I do think the moderator should have took it kind of on his charge to stop the interrupting, because like you mentioned earlier, we didn't really we got a few snippets on like different stances on different issues, but like really, like if you reflect on it, there wasn't really a narrative in anything besides just a bunch of interrupting. So I think it was just kind of a wash. It's the first of many. Like I said earlier, it's not all telling. There's going to be a lot of stuff in the next coming month. I don't know if you could even say there's a winner or loser here. It's just like it leaves you needing more information and more screen time for the both of them to really form an opinion that's valid.
How many debates are there going to be? 3 total?
4, right?
3.
And then there is a vice presidential debate. I don't know any details about when, but there usually is one, so there should be one. That'll be. I actually will tune into that. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Cameron, do you want to say something about the winner and loser?
Yes, definitely. Okay. So, last night I think there kind of was a winner for the night. Like not for the whole thing, of course, not the whole election, but for the night, I think Biden was a winner, honestly, because I don't think anybody. I mean, at least I didn't expect expect Biden to at least stand up there for an hour and a half and get across coherent sentences, honestly. And some of them weren't. Some of them he stumbled over for sure, and he didn't get off as crisp as Trump. But I'm surprised he was up there. I think that was a big win for him, just staying up there and not, needing his aides to come save him from saying something stupid. And then another thing is what you were saying to how Chris Wallace, his name is, handled the interrupting was when Biden would interrupt, Trump would let him kind of start talking if he wasn't already on the attacking. Like if Trump was making a point and Biden interrupted, Trump would try to listen to Biden's response, and Trump wanted to go back and forth. Like he wanted to play that game of back and forth sparring.
Thank you.
But when Biden was talking and Trump tried to jump in, Biden just kept talking because he didn't want to get into that sparring battle of like a back and forth, my point for your point, back.
Scripted, off the cusp.
Yeah,
right.
He wanted to stay with what he was saying and trying to stay on that train of thought.
Well
so
said.
He kept talking, and Trump was trying to get in his head, and then he would either just start laughing and shake his head, or at one point he just told Trump, "Oh, just shut up," or "Oh, this guy."
Yeah, he kept saying that. He kept saying like, "Shut up, you big fool," or like, I'm
because
like, what?
He was interrupting him, and that's what I think that was a good tactic. But I also think Biden parried it pretty well. He didn't let it stop his train of thought, and he got off a lot of points that I think would be good Democratic talking points that they would agree with, even though I don't agree with them. And if we went topic by topic, I think Trump's a winner in each individual segment because I agree more with his like policy and the path he's going. But overall, I think Biden won the night.
That's a good point. And talking about like the rebuttal, I don't remember like a moderator being so like non-rebuttal on conversations between the two candidates. I felt like there were a lot of times where I really wanted to hear Trump or I really wanted to hear Biden come back on something that was said about some specific policy idea or some specific, you know, dig or whatever, and it was all shut down. I was like, that's like what we want to hear. We want to hear them go back and forth like you were talking about. So hopefully that improves. I think the American people really deserve to hear those two men kind of going like back and forth, not just answering the monologue questions that they've rehearsed over and over. But we'll see what where the future holds. Okay, let's close out with this question. Do y'all think more or less people are going to be inclined to vote after this first election?
First
For the
debate.
first debate.
Yeah, I think less.
You think less people will vote after this
I
because
mean-
of this first
I
debate?
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna still go vote, but
Yeah.
I mean, Trump's still not a for sure for me. If he keeps making like a mockery, and I think this almost the whole election is almost a mockery. I
Mm.
think if he keeps doing that, then I'm gonna vote for Kanye. I'm gonna write him in there. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But
Right on.
I mean, he's got to earn the vote. Like he can't just keep doing this for sure.
Right on.
So I mean, I'm gonna go vote for other stuff too on election day. So I'm still going to vote. It's
Thank
not like I'm
you.
not gonna vote.
These are not the only two candidates out there vying for their
Right.
election 2020. Anyway,
Yeah.
Brian and Blake, what do y'all think?
I think, I mean, we're talking about public perception earlier, just like as a whole. I don't know. It's like kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. And a lot of people, of course, never get your information from social media, but you can see what other people are thinking and talking about. And the public perception was negative. So I don't think it had a positive effect, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think less people are just going to vote in this election regardless, with all the controversies surrounding it anyway. And plus, for people who are kind of on the fence about voting Trump, maybe they were kind of scared off based on how he made himself look in this debate. And I know there's a lot of people that just are not going to vote Biden for whatever reason because of who he is as a person. I think a lot of people are just gonna be like, "Fuck it, I'm not voting."
Yeah.
No.
That's fair. I'm kind of getting a lot of those vibes from just like the national conversation, the groupthink conversation right now is, this election sucks, these two candidates suck, and this all sucks.
Yeah.
Which is very contrasting, I think, to the expectations we all had going into the debate. I thought people were very excited for it. The ratings, by the way, were actually really good for it. Third most watched debate all time, behind 2016 debate between Hillary and Trump and the 1980 debate between Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan. 73 million people watched this debate. 73 million
Jeez.
across.
I think
across
that has to
multiple
do with
networks.
I think that has to do with the Fox News being a big like drawer.
Well,
And also because I talked to
16
like
networks did air it though, and
so,
Fox
yeah,
was the
that's
number
true.
one. But
I didn't even watch Fox. I watched CNN just to see what they were saying.
Interesting, right?
Watch
But,
ABC.
Yeah, I mean it was just on YouTube. But anyway, yeah, I was talking to people at work today, and like I feel like most people at work are liberal almost, and we get a good bit of downtime, so we talk politics and stuff sometimes, and it's definitely more liberal. But the more you just have like honest conversations with people, and like they didn't watch this one, but I talked to them about it, and they're probably gonna watch the next one. And I think it Trump boosted ratings for following debates last night by doing what he did. So that's why I'm so interested to see what he does in the second and third one, when those lasting. First one doesn't necessarily matter as much because it'll have those lasting things to go into the election on.
Right. Okay, let's close out on this. Sorry, I know I feel like this is like the third time I've said this is the last question, but let's close out on this. What do y'all need to hear in the next next debate? What do y'all really want to hear? It could be a topic, or it could be just something specific, maybe a courtesy from the candidates. What do you need to hear from the next
Mhm.
debate?
I need no interrupting, and I just need them to have open dialogue and maybe a little bit of back and forth on, you know, solid points, which there were solid points, but nothing got, the proper and detailed attention it needed because all the bullshit. So
Mm.
I just need to, have an objective view on what the stances are so I can be informed going into, the next month.
Right on. I think a lot of people share that view. Blake?
Yeah, I'd like to hear, clear expectation of, the most pressing problems that our country faces right now from each candidate or from both candidates' point of view, what their plan is to mitigate those problems, and how they're actually going to go about executing that plan. They are the leader of the executive branch, so more just more of a more of a debate rather than a um, interrupting
Screaming
match.
match.
Yeah,
Right.
Circus.
yeah.
Cameron?
Um, yeah, I want to see more of a debate. Agreed. Um, there's a lot of topics they didn't hit on, so there's a
Mm.
lot to still be talked about for sure. But just how in depth are they going to get? Like an hour and a half to talk about more than three things is is tight, and you don't really get to fully flesh out thoughts. Like, I mean, even right now, we wanted to do a short podcast, but it's so hard when you have a couple of points to make and to fully
Mm.
flesh out a thought. And they're cramming into an hour and a half, and that's why you know I think debates. I really look at actions when it comes to it. And Biden's been in office for 47 years, and just look at his actions. He's not exactly a man of principle or somebody that stands by his opinions, or even, I don't even know if he even holds personal opinions. When he was asked about the filibuster, he completely didn't even have an opinion on it. So, um, I'm just looking for a change up in tactics by Trump, though. I don't want to see the same thing.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
like pitching. Just throw a change up. You came in with your fastball that we all know you got. The Donald. Like, let's see a change up and trick him and get him.
I think that's a great point. I think kind of we all here kind of wrapping up the consensus ideas from probably majority of the 73 million people who tuned in to the debates. I agree, though. For me, I want to see some original ideas from Biden. Like you said, having conviction in the principles that you believe in. I'm not sold yet that he has that. Seeing first off, y'all need to go on YouTube and type in presidential debate Joe Biden versus Joe Biden. Absolutely hilarious because it's all the contradicting statements that he's made throughout the years. 47 years in office, by the way, like you said.
Jeez.
From Trump.
19% of the United States history. Just fun fact
Yeah.
right there.
Wow. That's crazy.
About a
Holy cow,
fifth.
20%. Anyway, from Trump, what I want to see. So it's no lie or, hidden thing that like we're in a very divisive time right now. And as the president of the United States, you have your constitutional duties, but you also have your civil duties. And for Trump, I'd love to see him bring our country together, not further divide us. That's a big ask, because there's a dual-edged sword of being so hyperactive and so hyperproductive that you will get things done that you believe in getting done at all cost. And sometimes there's consequences to that. I think Trump's been, successful. I think he's gotten done most of the things that he promised he was going to get done in 2016. But there are definitely consequences for that. You got to burn some bridges along the way to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish at all costs. So we'll wrap it up at that. This was supposed to be a quick wrap up for the debate. Obviously, we got a little over time, but that's okay. We hope you enjoyed it. We will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for
See
listening, guys.